A tug of war is playing out in Pakistan. On one side is the government and the army. On the other, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who has been jailed since 2023, and his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party. Despite being behind bars, Khan remains a central figure in Pakistan's political discourse.
Imran Khan actually has become like a political martyr, sitting in jail, but ability to command his supporters to come out on the streets. He's giving these calls from the jail, and people are still coming out.
Khan called on thousands of protesters to converge on Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, on November 24th. For several days, they defied the government, demanding not only the release of the former prime minister, but also the restoration of their stolen mandate. They were referring to the fact that pro-Khan lawmakers won a majority in the 2024 general elections, but have been unable to form a government. Leading the latest crowd of protesters is Khan's enigmatic wife, Bushra Imran Khan.
It is remarkably striking how she was thrusted into this central role in this story. It's really quite striking in the sense that she is someone who has always been known as a very private person who doesn't really want to have a public persona, even though that's hard to avoid when you're married to Imran Khan.
Also known as Bushra Bibi, she married Khan only months before he was appointed prime minister in 2018. She was the first Pakistani first lady to wear a burqa. But as her husband was ousted from power in 2022, she became embroiled in judicial affairs. In January 2024, she was jailed on corruption charges. After being released in October 2024, this rally marked her entry into the Pakistani political arena.
रसूलुल्लाह के उम्मतियों को खान को और मेरा सलाम खान के हुक्म पे 24 नवंबर से नहत्ती अवाम रुकावटें हटाती हुई इस्लामाबाद पहुंच रही है जो अभी तक नहीं निकले वो अपने और अपने मुल्क के मुस्तकबिल के लिए इस्लामाबाद पहुंचे क्योंकि आपके मुल्क के मुस्तकबिल का सवाल है बहुत शुक्रिया.
It does appear, according to recent comments by some of Bibi's close advisors, that Khan very much wanted her to take on this very prominent role because he was not trusting the established leaders of PTI. We've long seen, particularly since Khan was jailed, what I would describe as a growing divide between Khan and much of the rest of the PTI leadership, his party leadership.
During the protest, violence escalated between PTI supporters and security forces. The government says at least 4 paramilitary soldiers died in clashes, while PTI supporters say security forces gunned down at least 12 and injured hundreds of their fellows. The truck that Bushra Bibi used to deliver her rally speech was torched. Many presume she left the area as tensions escalated. Her absence disappointed many supporters who had earlier heard her vow to stay until the end.
But at the same time, many PTI supporters are unhappy with her. They think that she abandoned the party, abandoned the protest, and abandoned the cause at the very worst time. Now, the other leaders in the party, I would argue, are then there's a lot of division, so it's hard. It's not a monolith right now.
We have to understand in politics there's always quite a bit of rhetoric. So those were very rhetorical statements saying that we are going to march on to D Chowk and we will not return till Imran Khan is freed. Now, obviously, I mean the army had a different way of dealing with it. I think they were pretty prepared that they would use force against the protesters.
The November protests were the latest clash between Khan's PTI and the army, amid tension that has become systemic.
This is a pattern in Pakistan's political history that you have political figures that rise to the top because of their good relations with the army, and then they fall out with them. And that's what happened to Khan.
The former cricket star entered politics as a complete outsider and worked to build his power base among workers, the middle class, and the Pakistani diaspora.
He had immense amount of popularity, as a sportsman. And once he retired from sports, he went into charity work. So this connected Imran Khan to the people.
But it was thanks to the army's support that he became Pakistan's prime minister in 2018.
2018, the general elections was actually rigged by the military in favor of Imran Khan.
Ultimately, this rule clashed with Pakistan's political establishment, especially the military.
He didn't go along well with the army. There were differences with the army. The army thought that he was trying to undermine their authority. And that is how, there was a rift between him and the Pakistan army. And the army was then instrumental in trying to remove him from power.
Khan was voted out of office in 2022 and arrested in 2023. He was indicted on multiple charges, including corruption. Several protests were called, some by Khan himself from prison, and thousands of his supporters have taken to the streets over the past 2 years.
The confrontation between the senior military leadership, particularly the army chief and Khan, is very, 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 very bitter, very personal. And I just don't see the military leadership wanting to do anything that would give much to Khan and his party. And, I say that perhaps at one point the state would be willing to a deal that would lead to Khan's release, but even that might be a hard sell, just because I can't imagine the senior military leadership wanting to see him go anywhere other than staying in jail for quite some time. So, bottom line, I think that we're going to see this confrontation to continue to play out.
And despite a series of intense popular mobilizations, so far there is no indication that the government is being pushed any closer toward any sort of agreement.